My name is Angelique Wilkie, and I bid you all bonjour and good afternoon. Over the course of the past 2 years, nothing short of 53 people have worked on this task force to deliver the report and the action plan that we're unveiling today. This final report is a testament to our belief in the university and to the value of our place in it. I want to take this moment to express my deep gratitude to the members of the task force for all their efforts and their emotional labor. And I'll add a very special mention to the members of the Black communities who are joining us today, in the room and online, from near and from far, as well as to those from the past and those to come. Without you all, this work is meaningless.
The work of the Task Force on Anti-Black Racism has led us to examine Concordia's history, as well as the relations of its founding institutions, Loyola College and Sir George Williams University, with Black communities. One critical thing this means for Concordia is that we have to directly address the student protest that took place at Sir George in 1969, as well as its aftermath. Concordia University, with the support of its Board of Governors, apologizes for the decisions and actions of university leaders at the time. We also apologize for the harm that was caused to Black students at the university and for the negative impact felt by Black communities in Montreal and beyond. In addition, we deeply regret our silence in the decades since the protest. That silence has contributed to a deterioration of trust and a breach in Concordia's ties with Black communities. It should not have taken more than 50 years to acknowledge the wrongs leading up to and in 1969. Today, we must recognize how institutional racism manifests itself, not just historically, but in the current reality of our education systems, including higher education. Looking forward, the Task Force on Anti-Black Racism has recommended specific, meaningful actions that will guide us on this path. The task force has worked over the last 2 years to generate recommendations anchored in the lived experience of Black students, faculty, staff, and alumni. I'd now like to introduce our first guest speaker to share his experience and thoughts. Rodney John attended Sir George Williams University between 1965 and 1969, and he was one of the original 6 Black biology students who stepped forward to complain formally to the university about the racist treatment they were receiving from a professor in the department. Rodney, over to you.
Over the years, I've spent a lot of time thinking and talking about this issue. And I have to say that I never expected to be standing here responding to an apology from the president. None of this would have occurred had it not been for the foundation of social protests that had been established in Montreal in the 60s, from early 60s up to 67, 68, with the Black Writers' Conferences and the raising of consciousness and the work of people like Alfie Roberts and Cools and that whole generation of social activists, it would not have occurred. I said, what I want to do is for us as students to be able to bring a case before the administration and be heard. Your rights as a student, but they couldn't get past the fact that this was a black person wanting to be seen as a student. I ended up, this is for me the issue. I ended up with 5 university degrees, 1 PhD, 2 masters, and 2 bachelors. But today, I feel unfulfilled. I did not do at university what I wanted to do. My life was directed by the arbitrary judgment of a white man. And these arbitrary judgments of white people on people of color still occurs to this day. And it is up to people of color and all people who are disadvantaged to say enough. We are not going to accept the definition of who we are.
Our second guest speaker, Lynn Murray, was born and raised in Montreal and was pursuing a Bachelor of Arts degree at Sir George Williams University in 1969. She too became concerned with how the university was under-responding to complaints about systemic racism against black students, and joined the sit-in at the university's 9th floor computer center in Solidarity for Social Justice. She was arrested by police along with 96 other students on the morning of the 11th of February 1969 and experienced police violence. She was held in a Montreal jail for several weeks, after which she was bailed out by her parents. After prolonged trials, she eventually accepted a plea deal and paid a fine for her involvement in the protest. She completed her degree, unfortunately, at another institution. Lynn?
After 6 weeks of protesting and meeting with the university admin, the students took over the computer center in a peaceful protest. During the first week of February 1969, Sir George Williams University admin finally agreed to the students' demands to end racism in the university. The majority of the 400 plus students who protested and occupied the 9th floor, they left and went home because an agreement had been reached. But a few remained to clean up the center and also monitor the computers, which the students had maintained during that whole occupancy. February the 11th, 1969 was a dark day in the history of Montreal. 97 students were arrested and 42 were black. Many students, including myself, were beaten and tortured by the Montreal police. Students were forced to lay down on broken glass on the floor and were beaten with clubs. There are photos in the media of a lot of students being led to the police paddy wagons or vans, and they were bleeding and bruised with cuts. In fact, one of the students from Bahamas, she suffered a brain aneurysm, and she died shortly after, and her parents believe it was because of the actual beating that she received that day. The stain of a criminal record was tattooed on their lives forever for standing up for their basic human rights and dignity. Thank God the majority of their students successfully graduated from other educational institutions and later became pillars and stalwarts within their own communities and countries. And lastly, on behalf of all the former students, I thank the president, provost, chair, and all the members of the task force on anti-Black racism for their exemplary action and apology. These are initial great steps towards making amends and atoning for the past, but these plans you share with us today must be implemented and fully executed and also publicly demonstrated.
As Angelique mentioned, the task force has really gone above and beyond to deliver an impressive and forceful report, and I'm extremely proud and very eager to share their recommendations. And just as a university, we continue to learn from our institutional efforts to make good on the action plan of the Indigenous Directions Leadership Council, the actions that are required to decolonize the university and make enduring positive change, those actions don't come with an end date. They are ongoing and perpetual, as they should be, a process of continuous engagement, commitment, and improvement. And this is just the beginning of that process. So I look forward to working with my colleagues, with members of the task force, and more broadly with the Concordia community, with the Montreal community, to accomplish the important changes outlined in this report and the changes that will ensue from implementing those recommendations. And now I'm going to turn the microphone over to our Provost and Vice President Academic Ann Whitelaw to present some of the final report and articulate the university's response and action plan. So Ann, over to you.
I'm proud because this is a phenomenally important milestone for Concordia. This report provides a roadmap for how to make the university a more welcoming, more just, and overall better place, not only for Black faculty, students, and staff, but for all our faculty, students, and staff. Les 88 recommandations du groupe de travail ont été regroupées en 4 grandes catégories. Favoriser l'épanouissement des personnes noires, Black Flourishing, soutenir les savoirs des communautés noires, Black Knowledges, encourager la mutualité, Encouraging Mutuality, et induire le changement à l'échelle institutionnelle, Driving Institutional Change. Comme vous allez l'entendre, certaines des mesures recommandées sont déjà en cours de réalisation ou seront mises en œuvre sous peu. D'autres nécessitent du temps, une coordination entre les unités et des fonds supplémentaires. Mais que les choses soient claires, let me be clear. L'université compte réaliser toutes les mesures incluses dans le rapport. The university will implement all the recommendations included in the report.
This quietly triumphant moment must also be a careful and sobering one. As we were preparing for this event, Rodney shared with me that our conversations made him feel sad. Sad about the uselessly disrupted lives in 1969 and beyond. Sad that we can be defined by the color of our skin, something none of us can control. Sad that this work is still necessary. The report's recommendations will change us and our university. And the path will sometimes be unpredictable, fraught with frustrations, perhaps even forgotten. Fulfilling them will require an investment of resources, both financial and human. They express our solidarity with the decolonization efforts of Indigenous faculty, staff, and students. They are about, I'll try not to cry when I say this. They are about me being able to look at my teenage Black son and tell him that Concordia is a good place for him to become all that he can be. It's a place where he will be treated fairly, where his voice will be heard and valued, where he can dream big, play hard, and laugh loud. This isn't only about Black Concordians. It's about all of us. Each one of us needs to do the labor of being attentive to the minutiae of the everyday. Each of us needs to be willing to question our values and our sense of personal and institutional responsibility, and to adapt our modes of operation accordingly. Fundamentally, we are challenged to act on the conviction that we must all contribute to a more just and equitable future. I thank you again for being here, in the room, on Zoom, each and every one of you. I thank you for all you have already done. I thank you for all you will do. With that, please consider the final report of the President's Task Force on Anti-Black Racism launched.